welcome to the Ruckus Room, the conservative edition. I'm here tonight with Alan and Rachel, and I think we're going to start with the Grammys, where Bad Bunny wins Album of the Year for a Spanish language album, and then immediately turns the speech into anti-ICE rally. What did you guys think of that?
I was very fortunate. I didn't see any of it.
I didn't see it either, but I did hear about how everyone took the opportunity to grandstand against ICE, except for Jelly Roll. I heard that Jelly Roll thanked the Lord, as used to be pretty common, when he won Best Country Album. So I guess we were represented a little bit.
Well, I think it was just, I didn't watch the whole thing, but it was literally like a liberal therapy. It felt like a literal liberal therapy to watch it. And if I wanted to watch that, I should go to CNN, not have to watch a Grammy Award, where I don't think politics should be involved in any of these, which everything now is so political.
But they want to feel important.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, though.
It almost feels like...
This is why Kamala did it, even though she wanted those heavy hitters.
They think that if you can pretend really well, that people will actually care about what you say. And there are some idiots that do care about what they say. But personally, I don't care what they say. They're just actors. They don't even know who they are.
Yeah, it seems like if they want to bring politics into it, they're going to alienate literally half, actually more than half the country, since the Republicans won in a landslide. I mean, if they want to play that and they just want to shout down the Republican and conservatives, they can do that, but maybe we should just have our own award shows. Like we have the Patriot Awards. Now we've got conservative Hollywood, since they've kind of set up the rules to edge out conservatives and Republicans, but it's nice to see Angel Studios and people like that kind of skirting around that and saying, all right, if you want to play that game, we'll just make better content. And I know you wanted to talk about this later, but maybe it's a good time to kind of transition and talk about Melania and how Melania crushed at the box office. Like the best documentary since 2012 is what I read. 7 to 8 million at the box office, coming in number 3 this weekend. And actually number 2, Coffee and COVID brought up, was a very interesting number 2 as well. This was called The Iron Lung, I think. And it was a sole production by a YouTuber. He didn't have production studios. Apparently what he did was he called up individual movie theaters himself, 2,000 of them, and did his own production and distribution. Didn't use Hollywood at all. So his $15 million haul is pure profit. I mean, it's crazy what's happening in entertainment these days.
No, but it's the liberals doing the false narrative, saying her movie was horrible and no one went to watch it. It was one of the biggest documentaries ever released that was watched over $7 million. And considering the weather was really bad and people really couldn't go out to see it, I'm sure there would have been more, which maybe the next few weeks it'll turn out to be even a bigger success, which I'm sure is giving the big middle finger to her haters. It was so cool to see. Her favorite song was Billie Jean. She gives advice and her husband listens when it comes to speeches. Having insight on what happens in the background at the inauguration day was, oh my gosh, amazing to watch. And I really hope the way that they left it, they come out with a part 2, because it was just amazing. From her styling her own dresses to just everything she does as being just a mom. Like just being in the moment as a mom. Like no one gets to see that kind of stuff.
I have to say, she's the most captivating first lady we've had since Jackie O.
Oh, yeah. She's beautiful. She's gorgeous. Everything fits her like a glove. And she works hard on making everything like with the fabric to a T. Like, there's no joke about that. But I wanted to go back to the Grammys real quick because Bill Maher, I got some quotes from him that are pretty funny. Drop the politics for a couple of hours and just let us enjoy happy dopey celebrations during award season. these trends of virtual signal of the body ornaments wearing the pins and ribbons, calling crucifixes for liberals. He says everything in the name of the show, business comes out for Kamala. Like all of these big names came out: Oprah, Taylor Swift, George Clooney, Beyonce. It did nothing. All it did was make independents vote for Republicans. I thought that was great. I don't know if you watched his little spiel, but everything was so on point. He urged Hollywood to just shut the F up because they're not helping Democrats win any elections and sit this one out because pins can't fix anything. I thought that was pretty interesting because it was to the T.
Bill
It
Maher,
was spot on. That was
Bill
spot
Maher
on.
is a national treasure. I mean,
Yeah.
Bill Maher is exactly what I mean when I say that we need a sane left that to balance out the Republicans, because any party that gets absolute power is going to eventually become ridiculous. And Bill Maher is the leftist that we need. So, kudos to him.
Well, the
Thank you for
craziest
calling
thing
out
is,
your
and
own side.
he's right in the fact that nobody relates to celebrities. Here they are preaching all this. Billie Eilish is one of the biggest hypocrites. She lives in a 20 point something $1 million house behind
On stolen
gates,
land.
on stolen land, and then also has a restraining order on somebody who broke into her house, who called the cops to have that done because she felt she wasn't safe. Biggest hypocrite. I mean, there's so many of them. All of these celebrities that live behind these gates, they can't relate to me. They can't relate to us walking down the street if we're not safe. They can't relate to us at all. So to have them speak like we actually give a shit what they say is actually kind of comical. I don't watch
Billie
any of
Eilish,
these award shows either. I just watched clips of it, and Jelly Roll nailed it last night with talking about how Jesus doesn't pick sides and he's just there and he's what the award should be about, not this other political bullcrap.
Yeah, Billie Eilish is not the one who's going to struggle to afford a gym membership, and so instead go jogging in a public park and get bashed over the head with a
Lincoln
rock
Riley.
by an illegal immigrant.
Right.
Exactly. It's like
that's
not going to happen to
land.
Billie Eilish. So she can say whatever she wants behind her $24 million walls.
Yep. Padded walls
that keep her safe.
Well, during the Grammys, the Epstein files were released. Chaos Hollywood's elites probably are sweating more than their ice pins that they were wearing because as this was going on, Nicki Minaj went after Jay-Z and a couple of celebrities, and people might want to watch out. Yeah, she's for Trump now, and yeah, she's being supportive, but people are going to start following her. You watch, and she's going to sell out some of these people that were involved with this Epstein thing on that left side. She's already going after Jay-Z and several others. It's going to be very interesting to see what comes out of this.
Yeah, I mean, she's fascinating. And she's got her brand new Trump card. She's born in Trinidad, so now she's an American citizen, which is great.
She's literally torching the elites of Hollywood right now, and she's going to keep getting more backing behind her. I feel more people are going to follow suit.
Yeah, I mean, not to mention we've got Joe Rogan, who's the #1 podcast, who's willing to give quite a lot of pushback to the left. So if you listen to the salt of the earth, the people on the ground, if you're going to listen and not shout them down with slurs and hate and a temper tantrum, then you might hear something a little bit different than what Hollywood would let you believe is happening on the ground.
Yeah, it's insane that I don't know how you feel, Alan, about these celebrities, but it just kills me. This just kills me. This is supposed to be the side of peace and all this other stuff, and they are saying some of the most hatred things and doing the most hatred things, like even those nurses that said those horrible things about the press secretary and hope she tears when she gives birth. And there's something mentally wrong with these people at that point. That's not even normal behavior and should not be accepted at all.
Yeah.
Well, they aren't normal. They've lost their mind. They've gone from, let's go back a decade or so. The left, the Democrat Party, was an entirely different party. They were sane, well, maybe a little more than a decade, but they were saying, and you could get along and you could try and work together, and we weren't so far apart on things. And in fact, if you look at the newsreels from back, a while ago, they're saying now, what they're disagreeing that the Republicans are saying when they've already said it. So they're just pandering and they're playing games. And what they're actually doing, in my mind, is watching themselves fall apart and have no idea how to stabilize themselves. That's what I think we're seeing.
What do you think, Rach?
Yeah, I listened to this guy Andrew Wilson on Joe Rogan recently, speaking of mentally ill, and he made a very interesting point on the Joe Rogan podcast about the left purposefully going after the mentally ill because they're useful, because they'll do like suicidally crazy things, like I don't know, bring a very dangerous weapon to a protest or rev their engines and hit ICE agents with their cars. They'll do stuff like that, instigate, and they'll do other stuff because they literally don't care about life. And so they're useful to the left. He made some very interesting points. And also on Joe Rogan played a clip of Obama saying some things about immigration. Obama basically sounding more MAGA than MAGA back in the day, talking about deporting illegals. And I mean, it's like what changed? I mean, I'll tell you what changed is they figured out how to game the system and use illegal immigrants for their electoral benefit.
Yep. Exactly.
It's nice. It's nice to see things happening in Fulton County and some accountability now. I've been watching that like a hawk.
I think they owe Giuliani some money back, and they need to get convicted. What they did to him,
sure.
and comes out that everything he said was basically true. No. They need to back up. They need to restore him, and then they need to take it on the chin themselves.
The craziest thing
we have to be able to trust our elections. We have to. Well, otherwise, we don't have a country.
ICE has been around since 2003. George Bush, I believe, right? Am I right? It's been around that long. Obama was president during this time. Trump was in office. Biden was in office. ICE has been around this entire time. ICE is there to enforce the law and take the illegal immigrants out of our country and let them go through the right process, whether they're criminals or not. It goes both ways. If you have your final papers, like you said, that's how it works. And it's kind of crazy to me now. Everybody's just going nuts with the left because Trump's the president and everything's his fault with ICE. Meanwhile, we've never had any of these issues or riots with any other president over ICE. And it's just because of this TDS syndrome. And it's so bad. And it's so crazy where you talk to some of these people from the other side, they swear that Trump is the reason the country is so hateful. It's his fault that everyone's so hateful, when a lot of the hate is coming from the other side. It's coming from their side. And Trump's not hating on anyone. He's trying to make our country safe. So I'm confused by this whole thing. I don't know if they purposely do this to... I don't even know what the purpose of it makes no sense, though. It's just so hypocritical, I think. It's power,
it's
for
power,
what?
And I think to some extent, it's a color revolution. Again, Joe Rogan was talking about this, and he went a little bit viral at the beginning of this Andrew Wilson episode, talking about what a color revolution is, and how it's just orchestrated chaos to try to bring down a government. And it's been done in the Middle East. Our own CIA has participated in those for regime change. So now we're seeing it done to us. And I don't think conventional warfare looks like what we think of warfare looking like. Like, I don't think if the United States was going to be invaded by a foreign country, say China or Russia, I don't think they stormed the beaches of Daytona like we stormed the beaches of Normandy. I don't think that's what it looks like. I think we have to be a little bit wiser about what an invasion would look like today, and recognize, is it happening? I think our modern enemies are going to use things like, like the internet and communications and manipulation, and biowarfare, fentanyl. All of that should be on the table, and election integrity. All of that could actually be what modern warfare looks like when you're trying to take down a country that you consider to be adversarial to you. I think
it's going to be interesting to see with the next presidential election. The Democrats can't run on just bashing Trump and what Trump doesn't do right. They're going to have to answer questions like, what are you going to do with ICE since you want to abolish it now? How are you going to keep our borders safe? How are you going to do, like, they're actually going to have to answer the hard questions that they don't have an answer to, instead of the TDS. Even like today, Trump is still your president. He's going to be your president. He can't get reelected. Why are we so fixated on Trump? As the left, you have to figure out where your party's going to go and have answers for the big things that people want to talk about, like the economy and the safety. And the border is 61%. The polls were taken. People think that Trump's still doing a great job. His approval ratings on how he's handling this, 61% of the country agree with. So what do you think, Alan, about that?
Now, really quick, can I give you some pushback on that? I don't think they're going to have to answer for that. I don't think their positions are going to stay the same. Remember Kamala, when Trump was still president and the vaccine came out, and she was like, I'm never going to take Trump's vaccine. They were the most anti-vax people until Biden got in office. And then all of a sudden now it's Biden's vaccine and everyone must take it or you're going to get fired. So I think they will switch positions. I mean, just they will shift on a dime, and the left, the cultists, will not bat an eye. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, I've always thought that."
Well, what do you think, Alan?
That's like what I was saying. That's what I was saying earlier. That if you look back in history, what the Democrats are against now, they were for then. So I think, Rachel, I think you're 100% right. All they're going to do is switch the narrative and say, no, it's, whatever they pivot to. And their followers are going to go, oh, like you just said, oh, yeah, that's right. We've always thought that way. Yeah. They have got people so deluded that it's mind-boggling. And I think we owe a lot of it to public schools, lack of critical thinking. I think we owe a lot of it to the 3-second reels that you scroll through on the internet where you believe what you see. I mean, I can create AI stuff that looks real, and I can make anybody do anything, and none of it's real, but there will be people that will follow it and actually believe it. And that's where we are today. We got people that don't think with critical thinking. They just go along to get along.
I'm just thinking,
and sometimes they go along with the violent side.
Wearing pins, bashing ICE, and what are you guys going to do with ICE when your left president wants to run, or whoever the VP or whoever the candidate they pick is? How are you going to ballot?
Well, they'll just pull back those old reels. They'll pull back those old reels. They'll pull back the old reels from 10, 20 years ago where they were pro-ICE and pro or anti, illegal immigrants and stuff. They'll go back to that and say, well, we've always been that way, see? And they'll show you historical records that show it.
At least
but that's what they'll do.
I think it will depend on what suits them.
Yes.
They may stay anti-ICE and defund the police and all of that. They may stay that way until it no longer suits their security and power. They will do whatever they need to do to get power. That's it.
The Dems are
and the scary thing about it is they don't hear what happens to the regular people on the way.
No, they don't care. They will sacrifice anyone, including their own foot soldiers, their own brown shirts. They will happily put them in harm's way to benefit the cause.
Yep.
Well,
yeah.
The Dems are holding the government hostage now to protect their criminals in sanctuary cities. I think it's Trump, right, to still demand the real border security about this partial government shutdown. I wonder how they're going to get out of this one.
That's another thing. Every time we have to do this, and I don't know why we can't do a full budget and we have to just keep having continuous resolutions, but every time it comes up, they attempt to use to hold the government hostage to change to get their narrative pushed through. And as we just mentioned, they don't care what happens to people that are on a budget or whatever, or who are going to suffer from the lack of funding that happens during these shutdowns and things, as long as they can keep pushing their narrative and try to get their way through. And they're hoping, and sadly in most cases it's true, the Republicans will cave, because the Republicans don't want these people to suffer and they don't see a way out of it. I really think we need to start using and I don't mean this in a wartime way, I think we need to start using the nuclear option and just stop all this stuff and stop the insanity and push things forward.
Why do
Yeah,
you
well,
think
we
Trump's being
need
so nice
to
with all
go
of that?
back to the real filibuster.
Yeah, he needs to go nuclear on a little, I think a couple things, because I just think like how Minnesota's being handled right now. It's been really quiet. They had 300 protesters over the weekend. Obviously, they're still not doing peaceful protest, but trying to sabotage law enforcement as much as they can. But it has been a little quiet since Tom Homan went into there. But I just don't understand why he hasn't gone nuclear there and nuclear on this just to end it. And like you said, bring back the filibuster.
Well, what I think is happening in Minnesota is Tom Homan going there is not backing away. It's actually moving forward. And I think what happened behind the scenes was they came up with a deal that Minnesota is going to start honoring the ICE detainers. That's the crux of the whole issue. That's why they have to go to these neighborhoods and encounter the protesters on the streets, is because Minnesota is not cooperating and releasing their dangerous criminals, known criminals, from the courthouses and from the jails directly to ICE custody. They release them to the community where it's a lot harder and more violent to find them. So I think behind the scenes, there was some horse trading going on. Something about the fraud maybe, and Tim Walz's involvement of it may have provided some leverage. But I don't see this as Trump backing down at all. I think Trump is sending in the big guns and forcing Minnesota to do this the way Texas and the other states do, which is more peacefully and with cooperation.
Do you think Trump's going to be
Exactly.
able in his term to get rid of these sanctuary cities, to abolish the way that they've been running them now? You think so? Well,
yes,
Nick Shirley's in California this week. Nick Shirley's in California, guys. I'm excited.
Yeah. If he can get rid of the quiet veto or filibuster in the Senate, in the U.S. Senate, and go back to the way it always was, where if you want to filibuster something, you have to stand there and talk. I don't know if anybody remembers the Stand with Rand days, where Rand Paul filibustered like for hours and hours and hours overnight. And he had to stand there and just keep talking, read the phone book, whatever. That's the way it always used to be. And they changed the rules to where it can be just silent, and then it takes 60 votes to stop the supposed filibuster, which can go on and on and on and on. If nobody has to stand there and depends and speak on the Senate floor. So we need to go back to that. And then all of a sudden our Republican majority can mean something again. And that rule change only takes like 51 votes.
Are you not excited about Nick Shirley going back to California now to expose the fraud in California? I'm sure Gavin is just loving this.
Well, yeah, I think the reason they're tackling California now is because Minnesota, the domino of Minnesota has kind of fallen. Like, that's done. And now they've got something to point to for Gavin Newsom. Do you want to be Tim Walz?
Between him and Spencer Pratt, he's going to be taken down, New Scum. I'm going to love watching this on TV thoroughly. Yeah. Did you see that they changed the electoral votes for 2028?
Where California loses 4?
Yes. And a lot of the red states gain them.
Is that already changed, or is that an estimate? Is that done?
I thought it was like 2028 is when it's going to be done, fully done. But apparently Trump would have won by a huge percentage after the new electoral votes were figured out, and the left is losing their shit over it.
That is so much more important than the poll du jour. Those polls
Yeah.
are like, who knows what
Yeah.
people are willing to say or who they're calling. You can't trust those polls. But messing with ballots, like taking the issue of ballots and the process, like all of that is so much more impactful and so much more important.
And getting rid of the illegal immigrants so they can't vote without IDs. He's fixing all
Yeah.
that too. He's getting rid of them, and then you have to have your ID now for every state. Isn't he just passed a couple different things? So your vote, like the mail-in ballots, there's a lot of stuff that's going to change that people's heads are going to start spinning for the next election. So it's more fair.
Whew.
Alan,
Man.
you might want to go back and rerun for something. It might not be
Oh,
crooked
hell
anymore.
no. I'd rather just sit here and play armchair quarterback.
Talk about we could talk about every candidate.
Yeah. Because honestly, outside of the kingdom, so to speak, you have free speech and you can say what you want, point out what you want. In there, you have to tiptoe around on the eggshells and play the game. I don't want to play the game. I want to be able to say what I want to say.
It's so
Could
true.
you
And you
imagine-
can't make everybody happy.
Can you imagine
Yeah,
if
and you
Hillary Clinton was in won the election in 2016, or if Kamala
God
won the
help
election
us.
now? What our country, it would be devastating with all of the illegal.
We'd be in the
like,
middle of a
everything.
revolution.
And I really think, I don't care what anyone says, God put Trump in there to drain the swamp and get these swamp rats out of there and change the dynamic of a lot of things. Because we would be in serious trouble if they were actually ever allowed back in office.
It's definitely revealed a lot of who people are. I mean, not
Yeah.
just the politicians, but the insiders, the machine, the whole deep state,
The fraud is everything.
and people who
Yeah.
vote for them. Like, I think we've all learned a little bit about our family and our neighbors throughout all this process.
You know, I think it's pretty cool, Rachel, is how I was telling you a few weeks ago, somebody from the other side came after me and started telling me that I'm wrong in their opinion and like trying to push it on me and kind of threatening me. And then they not friends with me anymore. I got monetized because I have so many followers now. And I just see now that they're still looking at my stuff. And it says, because it shows you on Reels and stuff who's looking at it. And it says their name and it says non-follower. I get paid every time they click and view that. I feel like
fantastic.
Oh, it's fantastic. I feel vindicated. Like Melania after the movie, like everyone said she was going to do so bad and she got good. I'm like, keep looking. Like the haters, they love to talk shit, but they don't. And then they come and watch your stuff and you're actually getting paid every time they click on it. So it's fantastic. Full circle. Right, Alan?
Thank you.
We got more haters watching our show sometimes than normal people.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Fantastic.
I love it when they start getting on on some of the posts they get on and they complain, and then somebody will say something, they complain, and somebody will say something, they complain. Every time they do it, the cash register
That's
just
engagement.
rings.
I know.
Yeah,
But do you know
it's awesome.
when they
Keep
complain
going.
and somebody asks a question, they can't answer a simple question. Like, why do you feel that way? How do you feel that
No.
way? What they can't answer you. Like, I could give you an answer when you ask me a question. I'll give you an answer to a reason why behind it. They can't. They're just so brainwashed with the same three things. It's all Trump's fault. Trump's full of hate. Trump bad.
It's all
MAGA
emotion.
bad. And it's so crazy because, like, I do not agree with everything Trump does, and I'm automatically the MAGA whatever, and that's not true at all. I don't believe in some of the stuff he does. Sometimes he acts like a complete moron, and I will move through. But as far as running the country, it was either him or Kamala. I mean, you didn't give us much to work with, right? So
Right.
what do they expect?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
But
I
yeah,
mean,
every time they
this
click
brings
those
up
comments,
something
it's
I was
funny.
thinking about. Something I was thinking about earlier about people running for office and how you'd have to be insane to do it. Alan, you don't want to do it again. I mean, and for very good reason. You have to be half crazy to want the job of president. So can we take that into consideration when we're criticizing our leaders? Like in some respect, you get what you pay for. And if you're going to beat up on politicians all the time and not give anybody any grace, even when they win, I mean, can you maybe understand how it's kind of limiting our pool of applicants for the job, and maybe
we all
we
should have
need to
known that
start
when Joe
giving
Biden
our
was in the
you know
office.
we need
I
to
don't.
give
We
our
figured that out when Joe
winners
Biden
who
was
are on
too
our
long.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and we've got Christy Noem, we've got Tulsi Gabbard, we've got RFK Jr., we've got some great people in there. We had Dan Bongino, but I mean, we've got all of these great people right now. But I mean, but it for some people, it's like they can do no right, no matter what they do. And like Trump, I mean, people don't give him any credit, any grace whatsoever, you know. But I mean, you just got to step back and think, who else is stepping up to do this insane job with very little upside?
Yeah.
Except for, maybe the ego of having been president. That's
I
it.
just think they should get off the Trump thing, though. He is your president, but he's leaving. He can't be reelected. Let's just get off of Trump already. Like, just let him run on his turn. We had to deal with Biden, and he didn't even know what day of the week it was. And we still put up with that crap for 2 years. It's crazy.
You're right, though. After the midterms, they will stop talking about Trump so much.
Focus on something
and they'll
else.
start picking off. They'll start talking about JD Vance or whoever they think is going to be the next nominee,
Alan,
and that person will be worse than Trump, who is worse than Hitler.
JD or DeSantis?
I think JD Vance will run. DeSantis might run, but he should wait another round.
Yeah.
Marco Rubio could run, but DeSantis is great for Florida, but he didn't do too well on the national level, so I'm not sure.
No, because he was going against Trump. There was a choice there. I don't think we should consider that primary as against DeSantis, because I think what he was a fallback. He was a fallback plan in case they were successful in putting Trump like literally in jail, which they came pretty darn close. I mean, I think it made a lot of us nervous, so that we wanted somebody good to fall back on. I think that was DeSantis. And I don't think he minded losing that primary, to be honest. So I think we give him a fresh slate. And but yeah, I think you're right too, Chrissy. It'd be great to see him just kind of wait in the wings, and let's see what JD Vance can do. I don't know. I don't have strong opinions for or against JD Vance.
Yeah, I think he's pretty much in the shadow of everything Trump touches, so he's going to be ready after this go. It'll be exciting.
I just hope he doesn't Mike Pence us.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody. Make sure you keep clicking and commenting and watching our videos, because we're getting paid for it and we're excited about it. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you next week in the Ruckus Room, Conservative Edition.
See you later.
Bye-bye.